Hi there, you're welcome once again to the Ask Lady Grace show. As you know, this program has been designed for you to encourage you, to motivate you, to empower you in various aspects of your lives. Today is going to be super exciting. After this quick commercial break, I'll introduce my guest and my topic. You're welcome back to the Ask Lady Grace show. Like I said, today promises to be very exciting and informative. With me here is a beautiful young lady who is going to take us through an important subject, and she's in the person of
Mary Assan, and I'm a nurse.
And we are going to talk about depression. Depression is seen in various aspects of people's lives, and I want to really understand how people get into this state and how people can come out of it. Because sometimes a beautiful young lady, we just hear that, oh, the person wasn't sick, then the person just died. No trace of sicknesses in any form. Then we lose those people, because sometimes some people are so depressed, some people are in a state of depression that they can't talk to anyone, they are not getting any help, and we just lose people. Today we are going to get into depression. We are going to get into the topic depression, understand how it happens and how we can overcome it. So Mary, thank you so much. It's a great honor to have you on my show, and I believe that this topic, you would help us understand everything about depression, that anyone watching us out there who is in a state of depression can be helped. Like I said, it's really important to me, because I deal with lots of people, I talk to people, and sometimes it seems like, how is this person? You have all the nice things, maybe you have the best car, some people have a lot of things that maybe another person may not be having, and the person is very happy. Let's say somebody is living in a mansion with cars, with good family, but there's something that is making the person not happy, and somebody is somewhere just eating gari and maybe pepper, and the person is just happy. The person seems happy, and this other person can't seem to appreciate. When you are standing somewhere, you will be like, why does this person have it all together and the person is still not happy? The person always looks so depressed, or the person is in a state of depression. What are some of the things, based on your experience as a nurse, right, in dealing with people, and maybe personal experience in general, like, I mean, you've lived on earth for a while. So what are some of the things that you think that gets people into this state of depression that they are unable to really do nothing about, and sometimes, like I said, we end up losing even those people?
So thank you for having me on your show once again. And for that, how people end up getting into that situation. So it could be a number of factors. Depression can be as a result of genes.
Okay.
If you have your a father or an uncle who was once diagnosed or once had depression, or ever did have depression at any point in time, chances of the child or first or second generation relative also getting depression as well. So genes play a very big factor, just like other diseases. There's the situation of environmental factors, like you said. They may have it all, but you're still not happy. You never know what's going on in the house. I mean, that's a normal thing. But again, there could be trauma. There could be events or stuff that the person just cannot deal with. And also that brings me to the next situation, which could be the next point, which will be situations or events or stresses of life.
Okay.
Some of us some people, we are all not wired the same.
Okay.
Some people are wired differently,
Yeah.
and they deal with things differently.
Mm.
What will, as the normal saying goes, what will break you might make me stronger.
Yeah,
What will
yeah.
make you cry might make me laugh. We are
Yeah.
all different.
Different people,
So
yeah.
some people are able to deal with things easily without worrying about anything, and some others actually really struggle through it. It could, and that also falls back on genes and also personality or character. Some people with the upper kind of personality, the melancholic, all those kind of things, those kind of personalities, it kind of puts the person in a situation where they have difficulty dealing with some things, difficulty dealing with stresses, difficulty dealing with situations,
Okay.
difficulty handling these kind of things. And apart from that, also there's diet and there's lifestyle. All of these can affect depression in any can affect or cause or be a factor to depression. So yes, you can have it all, you cannot have it all, and we have poor people, middle class, rich people that are depressed.
Yeah.
You have people from all walks of life, even children. There's no like age limit as to where depression can start. We have children as young as 8, 9, 10
Wow.
being diagnosed with depression back in the
Wow.
States, and it's kind of
Wow.
like, you're a child, what are you worrying about at this age?
Yes.
But they fit the criteria perfectly, and
Okay.
yeah, they
Because
are
of
diagnosed.
genes and
Could be
maybe
genes,
temperament.
environmental factors,
Okay.
childhood abuse. It could be a factor, and all of that.
Whoa. But do you mentioned life situations? Can you highlight on some of them? Is like genes, the stresses, and all that. But what about, do people say, for example, maybe broken hearts, deceit? Maybe someone does a business and then it goes off. Does that easily cause people to be in that state, or just the genes and those other factors?
So, like I said, with some situations, like broken hearts or heartbreaks or business failures and situations like that, they can easily put one into depression because it's a traumatic situation. It's a
Yeah.
traumatic event. It's hard for people, everybody to deal with stuff like that. Some people just snap out of it, move on with their lives, and that's it. And that will also bring you back to personality.
Personality, okay.
Personality.
Yeah.
Because some people are able to handle things very well.
Yeah.
But their personality is just like, they just can't sit there and let things control them, let things like overshadow them.
Okay.
There are some people that are naturally overthinkers, that are naturally warriors. You see such people falling more into depression or some stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a combination. It's like it kind of goes hand in hand with genes and personality.
Okay.
They kind of go hand in hand to an extent.
Yeah, so a particular thing can happen to two people, but one may get into a state of depression
and the other will handle it pretty well.
Wow, that's very informative. What are really some of the effects that in your work and in experience in life, what are some of the effects that depression really does to people?
It's enormous. Like, depression, it can be that bad. It can sometimes be referred to as a disability in the States. So much so that some people end up staying at home and not going to work at all. Like they end up being in a situation having to go to an office, the Social Security office, and being and whatever their depressive state is, being identified as a disability.
Okay.
So with that, they can work, because that depression is. So the effect of depression is that it actually does not make you. It actually doesn't help you enjoy your life or be able to live to the fullness of your ability, or be able to handle life or balance life properly. So basically, you are not functioning properly as a member of the community. So if it gets to a point where that is not helping you function properly as a member of the community, then it becomes an issue. Then it becomes a disability. So then we have people not actually working, staying at home, and it being classified as a disability, and they have to actually state that in papers, or some situations write it down when they have to apply for jobs and all of that. And that could be one effect. It could be an effect where it affects families and everything, because come on, especially when a depression gets really bad, postpartum depression, for instance, like it goes to a very far extent where mothers are killing their babies because they can't handle it. It breaks marriages. It distorts, it just breaks up families just like that. And apart from that, even other types of depression causes many other things such as you destroying yourself or just not living life to the full extent of your ability. And also the worst part of it is suicide, because you get to the point where you just done. Because you just it's the mind of a depressed individual kind of is not I would say doesn't really talk to them as a normal person's mind would. I'm not saying they're not normal, but then there's that overwhelming sense of hopelessness, of loss of interest, of that overwhelming sense of why am I here? What am I doing? Like I don't want to do this anymore. And when the thought of suicide comes in, and as it is with other situations, even when someone is not depressed, but an event happened and they end up committing suicide. It's not that it's not that they want to hurt somebody or something, but they just want the pain to go away. However they feel, they want it to end. It's not that they're being selfish. It's not that they are trying to hurt anybody. It's just that they want it all to end. They know, they understand that people are gonna get hurt sometimes, but then at that point they are not thinking that they're not thinking that my mom might be really, really affected by this, my dad or my children, I have children and all of that. They feel like life will be better, the whole universe will be better without them. Like their existence, it's not even, it's useless. So life will be much better without them. So judging somebody with depression or judging someone who committed suicide or calling them selfish or something doesn't really help, because it's not a choice. Sometimes it's not like it's a choice actually. It's something they could have chosen not to do, but in that particular instance they felt like they had no choice. They felt like that was the only way out, that was the best option. So it's not like so they do have a choice, but then some people, with my experience, I've come to know that they normally tell me that it's at that moment they feel like when they do it, the world will be a much better place, and everything will be much better. And if that's their own choice, and when they think about it, it actually makes them feel better. It actually takes the pain away, thinking that, that's it, and when I end it, it's gonna be all right. And that nobody will have to feel the pain or be bothered with me and everything of that sort.
How does one get out of this state? Because if from all you are saying, right, it makes people feel that they are not valuable. I mean, why would I think that if I'm not in, or I'm not alive or in the universe would be a better place without me? When ordinarily I should think that I'm created for a purpose, and me being on earth is like a big thing, even to the world. I'm like a solution. So if the moment I begin to think that the world not having me is better, then it's really serious. And what do you say to somebody who is depressed? Sometimes they have no one to talk to. They really, like you said, they think people will judge them. I mean, or sometimes they are talking to people, but it's like they still seem not to be getting it together. How does one come out of this state of depression because of the effect it has on them? It can, like you said, it can break homes, it can break a lot of things. So how does one really, really get over this state to become, let's say, in quotes, normal, appreciative of what he or she has, knowing that, okay, I'm better in the world needs me, I'm like a solution to the world?
Well, that's a good question. Well, there are like a lot of factors to help, a lot of things out there that can actually help with depression. So the first thing people that's normally done is diagnosis and medication or therapy, which is offered. But then again, like you said, everything begins with the individual.
Okay.
So even if there is a medication factor, the medication is in place, even if there's therapy, first off, it should be up to this individual to be willing, to be ready to work with whoever or whatever, and be willing to get out of that, to change their lifestyle. Because a lot with depression, some symptoms are, you find this person, it's constant lows. People barely have time, not have time, they have time, but then like it's being stuck in bed for hours and hours, or sometimes not sleeping at all. Sometimes you sleep the whole day, sometimes you just don't sleep at all, and it's lots of interest in things that you normally like. Yeah, you can't even get up to feed your cat, you can't even get up to or to feed your dog, you can't even get up to take a shower, to eat.
Yeah.
Even you can't even get up to do normal things, to help your children, take care of your children,
Yeah.
to get them ready for school or stuff like. There is no interest in anything.
Okay.
So with that comes lifestyle changes. The medication helps in the fact that it's a chemical imbalance basically. Depression is a chemical imbalance.
Okay.
So it helps with this norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine, which are chemicals in our bodies that are responsible for that kind of happy, those are called happy cells. So those ones, it helps. It's most medications help as mood stabilizers.
Okay.
To stabilize your mood.
Okay.
To help also produce more of these, to help you actually have more of that in your system.
Okay.
And actually help you live life like a normal person.
Okay.
So some people actually oppose the idea of depression, and more even worse, taking medication for depression. Like, come on, it's not a far-fetched factor from
Okay.
from in the States, but then in Ghana it's almost like a taboo to even talk about it, to even think about it, or to even mention it to anybody. So some people take these medications but hide them. Some people take these medications but then don't tell anybody about them or anything of the sort, or even don't get the support they need. So it's first of all depends on the individual. Lifestyle changes. Being able to work with your own medication. Take your medication. Most mood stabilizers take time to kick in. It could take as long as 2 to 3 weeks to actually work. And when it works, and sometimes that medication, it actually never works. Okay, so you have to change it. The doctors will have you take it for a while and see if it works or not. If you're still in the same, so you have to change it around. So that means you have to take another 2 to 3 weeks to see if the medication is working or not. So all that while they are trialing medications and all of that, you could have therapy ongoing. To help combat the constant depressive state whilst all of that is going. Some people choose to stick with medication only. Some people choose to stick with therapy only, whichever works. Some people combine both of them, and all of those can work as well. There is the factor of electroconvulsive therapy, where people also do that. That's almost like a last resort when like medications and all of that are not working. People also do hypnotherapy to help themselves get out of depression, because like it gets to a point where it's just too much, and people have to go to go have themselves hypnotized to get out of depression. And I've seen a couple that seem to have heard, actually a couple that seem to have worked well, but then you never know what the long-term effect, if it's gonna reverse back or not. But then like people end up getting hypnotized so that the depression can actually go. But then the most common things are medication, therapy, electroconvulsive therapy, lifestyle, exercise. Exercise is a big thing. Exercise is a big thing, actually. Exercise can actually improve your mood, because it ends up producing some of these chemicals also in your system, and it can actually help put all of these in the right places, and it actually makes you feel a little better with yourself, and actually more confident. And exercise has some enormous benefits if you have to go with that also. So yes, all of these, plus the individual also changing lifestyle, being willing to be involved in this, and being willing to help themselves. But sometimes also that's hard for that individual, even with that process, and it takes time. It's a journey. It's not a one-time thing. It's not something that can happen just like that. Some people happens slowly, some people happens quickly, some people it takes like forever. So yeah.
So the medicines you mentioned, do they cure it? Can depression like vanish, like, or once somebody gets into that state, it's like, okay, you manage it, or you'll be able to get out of it totally, and you are fine, you are back to normal? Do people really get out of it using the therapy and then the medicines?
Well, there are types of depression, like for the postpartum depression, for instance. it's mostly postpartum, obviously. And sometimes after a while it's gone and that's it. The person never experiences depression again. Sometimes it happens after every childbirth for this individual. Sometimes it happens like just once, like I said. And sometimes, so and with that, sometimes being the chances of, if the person has ever been depressed before in their life, chances of them having postpartum depression are high. If the person has never had depression but then had postpartum depression, chances of them having depression sometime later on in their lives are also high. So, and there's seasonal depression, there's recurrent depression. So depression is never cured. It's not, it doesn't like never go away like completely. Some people that can have major breakdown just once, and then that's it for them. Never in their life that they're going to experience it again. But then they stay on therapy or they stay on medications just to make sure of that. Some people do nothing and they never experience it. So it actually differs. But then generally, it's not something that's like cured completely. It's something that's managed, like you said, something that's that has to be controlled or taken care of or kept on with an eye kept on, just to make sure everything is make sure you're on track with what you're doing. So some people they have these medications for years and years continuously. And like I said earlier, I had a training this earlier today. Like I said, some of these things, as even whilst you're on medication, sometimes you could have rebounds or relapses of depression. So, which means the medication will have to be changed at that point, or dosages would have to be adjusted at that point, all depending on what your body is saying or what your body is doing or what everything is going, what is happening at that point.
Relapse. So in terms of, so maybe the same thing that caused you to be in that state.
No, basically, like, because you could be so low that you don't want to get so relapse in terms of whatever that was so bad to the point that you felt like you needed to go to the hospital and get help. Yeah, you could have that start to happen. You can tell that you are getting more and more depressed. You are getting more and more loss of you're losing more and more interest every now and then. Like you can just tell within yourself, like the depression is coming back up. Something is not. It's because after the medication started working, after a while, you could tell that you're feeling better. You are doing this and that, but now you're not. You seem to be retrogressing. Then yes, you could tell that okay, there's a relapse coming on.
So what role do people play, right? So maybe to, in terms of marriage, in terms of friendship, in terms of the church, in terms of organizations, what role can people really play to help people who are in a state of depression? Because it will be so some way to be married to somebody who is depressed. So it's like no matter what you do, the person will not be happy. The person, you try all your possible, but it can even be a friend, like you are being there for them, and it's like the person is still not getting it together. Or in a church, I mean, people are there to talk to you and all other things. But what role really do these people play in helping people who are depressed? Because I know that, of course, like you said, it depends on the individual, your willingness to get out of that state, right? So what can other people do to also help them come out of this state?
So a lot, actually. It's not that much, but it actually counts a lot. So with this, like what I said, the willingness of the person to get out of that state, sometimes it's even hard to have that person get to that point of being willing to get out of that state, because they've been in that state so long. It's like that's all they know, and sometimes it's even not about like that's all they know. It's just you are just so down and so low that it's hard to even pull yourself up to get to that point or wherever you need to balance, to be able to have a balance in life. So people, organizations, churches, husbands, families, friends, the best you can do is when you are able to identify this in the person, when you're able to see this in the person, the best you can do is understand them. Be patient with them, and most importantly, support them. The support is huge. The support is huge because you need that support system to be able to push you to, you know that there's somebody behind you, you know that there's somebody who is there for you to listen to you, to help, because it's a very lonely place to be. It's a very dark place to be, and you can't pull yourself up. That's why you have therapy. That's why you have somebody you talk to. That's why you have somebody you vent to. But then it's a very hard and tough place to actually pull yourself out of, and by yourself. You kind of like need someone to grab your hand, walk you out, or to pull you up slowly and gradually. It could take time, but then it does happen. So that's why I'm saying understanding is very huge, because actually you could end up, this person can end up going back and forth or stagnant for a very long time. The road to depression, or the road to depression recovery or management is it's a journey. Like I had said earlier in my training, it's a journey. It's a process. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-day thing. It's not. Some people just take the medication and they are fine. Or some people, it hits them really hard. So it's a whole process. Depending on what had happened, if there was a heat, there's some trauma that needs to be taken care of, and all of that. So it's the understanding, the patience, the normal support that comes from you, being able to sometimes just sit there and just be there and not talking. Sometimes just being able to, and you have such people need to also learn more about such conditions, because it will be nice to be able to learn that, oh, this is the person tells you this is what I have, or you get to know about the person's condition. It will be nice for you to be able to maybe research on it a little bit, know some symptoms, know what to watch out for, know to tell, I don't think she's doing so well today. And you can have be able to get to a point where you have that rapport, where you're able to have that connection with the person, where you can ask the person, are you getting depressed now? With the person what are the person getting offended? Are you getting more depressed now? Have you been taking your meds? Do you need to go back to the hospital? Do you need a refill? Can I help with anything? How can I support you? You should be able to get to that point where you'll be able to ask all these questions, and then get this person to be able to answer you, and so be able to support the person to the best of your ability. Sometimes just being able to realize that she is extra happy today. I'm not too sure. Is she getting suicidal? What's because sometimes suicidal patients or suicidal people tend to be very happy, giving out stuff because they feel like they found the answer to whatever they've been looking for so long. It's like eureka, this is it. So it's time to get out of here, and they are very happy within themselves. But then it's not all the time that happens. Sometimes if they're happy, they are genuinely happy. Sometimes it's the extreme sadness, and they are ready, and also monitor their tonations or their body language and gestures, and how they, and because I know somebody that actually apparently was fine the morning they had a party and everything, and then the next minute he went home, wrote on his Facebook page, blah blah blah, then bye everybody. Next minute he overdosed.
Wow.
So it's a huge thing out there, and support, being patient and being understanding, and doing your own research, and just being there for the person would count a lot and would go a long way. It actually goes a long way. You may not see it because it might be a lot for you as the person. It's a lot to help such people, but then to that individual, it's like it's everything. Though they might not be able to express it to you, it's really means a lot to them.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Mary Assan, for this great insight. Like you heard, really you are important to this generation. You are important to the world. You leaving the world will not be the best option, or you living, secluding yourself, not making friends, not making relationships is not the best option. Get help. Like we have heard, get help. It depends on you. You have to get out of it. And for anyone who knows anyone who is depressed, understand them, be there. It means a lot. You may be saving a life that will be of great value and purpose to this generation. Thank you so much, Miss Mary Assan, for this great insight. We have been empowered. I know that anybody who listened to us today, watched us today, would come out of any state of depression, and the person will live a happy life. Thank you so much, viewers. Catch you on another great episode on the Ask Lady Grace Show. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's bye for now.